All hell just broke loose after the royal doctor revealed what no one expected. King Charles's cancer fight isn't over. Treatment may be reduced, but danger still looms. With tensions rising behind palace walls and doctors watching closely, the truth is far more serious than the public was told. The doctor's bombshell: what royal medicine just revealed. In a shocking turn that shattered royal tradition, King Charles's doctors have done something no royal physician has done in modern history. They publicly confirmed that the king's cancer battle is ongoing, though treatment will be scaled back in the coming year. According to Reuters, the reduction in treatment will begin in 2026, following what physicians are now calling exceptional progress. But this wasn't a press leak or tabloid rumor. The announcement came directly from the king himself. In a rare and unexpected move, Charles recorded a message for Stand Up to Cancer, revealing not only the state of his health, but offering hope to others undergoing similar struggles. As Wikipedia confirms, the level of transparency shocked both the public and palace insiders. The tone of the message was calm, but the implications were huge. Royal medical advisors emphasized that while the king's condition has improved, his fight is far from over. Reduced treatment doesn't mean the cancer is gone, only that it's stable enough to lower the intensity. Physicians will continue monitoring him constantly, according to Reuters, ensuring any sign of recurrence or complication is addressed swiftly. For the monarchy, this was unprecedented transparency. As reported by Arab News PK, this level of disclosure about a sitting monarch's private health was nearly unthinkable a decade ago. Royal health issues have long been handled in complete secrecy, sometimes even hidden from other family members. Now, for the first time, the public knows exactly where the king stands. Yet beneath this hopeful tone lies something more serious. Doctors, while praising the king's resilience, have advised caution. The decision to reduce treatment was described as strategic, not celebratory. And that distinction matters, because it tells us this isn't an ending. It's just a new phase of an ongoing battle. As we shift from silence to openness, from mystery to medicine, the king's journey has already started to redefine what royal vulnerability looks like. But to understand the full weight of this bombshell, we have to go back to where this entire journey began. Back to the diagnosis that shook the entire world. The cancer diagnosis that shocked the world. It started with what was supposed to be a routine medical procedure. In early 2024, King Charles was admitted for treatment related to an enlarged prostate. Nothing serious, the palace said at the time, just standard care for a man in his 70s. But what came next stunned everyone, including the monarch himself. According to People.com, it was only after the procedure that further testing uncovered something far more dangerous: a cancer diagnosis. The palace didn't delay. Within days, they released an official statement. Charles had cancer, and treatment had already begun. This alone was a massive break from royal precedent. Health issues, especially life-threatening ones, are usually kept private for as long as possible, sometimes never fully confirmed. But in this case, the news went public fast. The urgency was clear. However, the palace kept one key detail firmly locked away: the type of cancer. As Reuters noted, they refused to share whether it was prostate-related, something else entirely, or how advanced it might be. This decision sparked a wave of speculation, not just in Britain, but around the world. Experts, journalists, and royal fans all wanted answers, and they weren't getting them. Meanwhile, Arab News PK highlighted how the king's personal health battle had become an instant global headline. Every photo, Every wave, every minor outing became part of a media storm. Was he walking slowly? Did he look pale? Was his hand shaking? The world was watching, minute by minute. But more than that, the situation triggered something deeper. A confrontation with the reality that even monarchs, with all their wealth and power, are not immune to disease. For many, this was the first time a reigning British monarch had shown such human frailty in public. This dramatic backdrop is what makes the doctor's recent update even more important. Because when physicians say the king is making progress, but still under constant care, they're not just giving a medical update. They're managing a country's expectations and the monarchy's future. And as the king shares more and more with the public, the spotlight burns hotter than ever. Especially when that light hits social media, where one update turned into a firestorm of reactions. The rare health update that set social media on fire. In a monarchy known for centuries of silence, it only took one moment to ignite a global reaction. When King Charles spoke publicly and personally about the reduction of his cancer treatment, people around the world were stunned. He didn't hide behind a spokesperson. He didn't rely on vague palace briefings. He looked directly into the camera in a recorded message for Stand Up to Cancer and said the one word that had been whispered for months: cancer. As reported by Reuters, Charles called the treatment reduction a blessing. His voice was calm, steady, even optimistic. But this wasn't just about his personal battle. It was a moment carefully designed to carry a bigger message. The king said his early diagnosis had been the key to progress. He praised the medical teams around him and urged the public to seek screenings, speak openly about health, and avoid fear or shame. Arab News, PK, emphasized how powerful this shift was, a monarch turning a private war into a public campaign. Doctors involved in his care described his condition as entering a precautionary phase, not remission. It was no longer active combat, but neither was it over. As one royal physician noted, "We're not at the finish line. We're simply at a safer part of the road." The impact of this message was instant and massive. According to Wikipedia, it wasn't just broadcast on television, it exploded online. Within minutes, social media went into overdrive. Fans flooded comment sections with messages of support. Others expressed shock, saying they hadn't realized how serious things truly were. Some questioned the sudden shift in tone. Was the palace downplaying something more serious? Was the king sicker than they let on? Twitter hashtags like #KingCharlesHealth, #RoyalUpdate, and #CancerAwareness began trending. Videos, reactions, even parodies spread in waves. And soon, the calm royal message became the epicenter of a worldwide conversation. More than a health update, this was a turning point in royal transparency. The update wasn't just about the king, it was about everyone watching, especially those facing their own cancer battles in silence. A monarch speaking about chemo, pain, and healing. For some, it was a sign that the stigma around illness could be broken, even inside the most guarded family in the world. But behind the smiles, behind the gratitude, doctors were still watching closely. Because the truth is, abusing treatment is a gamble. And that's what takes us behind the palace doors, where not everything is as calm as it seems. Behind the scenes, doctors' true concerns. While the king's public message painted a picture of progress, those inside the royal medical circle weren't celebrating. They were watching, calculating, and in some cases, quietly worrying. According to Reuters, top oncologists still view the king's condition as high risk, especially given his age and public workload. Reducing treatment is often seen as a hopeful milestone, but in some cases, it's also a calculated risk. And that's exactly what's happening now. Experts speaking to Arab News PK stressed that while Charles's early diagnosis was key, cancer is unpredictable. What may look like progress one month can change the next. In some cases, stepping back from active treatment too soon can give the disease time to adapt, or even return. As one doctor put it, "We're not ringing the victory bell yet. We're just changing pace." Wikipedia added that the King's team of specialists is taking what they call a tightrope approach, balancing quality of life with ongoing protection. The goal is to avoid overtreatment, but without giving the illness room to recover. That balance is delicate. One misstep could undo months of progress. Behind palace gates, medical advisors have recommended frequent monitoring, lifestyle adjustments, and continued caution in the King's public schedule. But here's the problem. King Charles isn't slowing down. Despite the warnings, he continues reviewing state papers daily, holding briefings, and occasionally attending events. While this sends a message of strength, insiders fear it could strain his recovery. This isn't a retreat. It's a surveillance phase, one medical source explained. The cancer is quiet now, but we're watching it every day. There's also concern about how much the public understands about this phase. Some fans have celebrated the news as if Charles is cured. That's far from the case. Reducing treatment doesn't mean the cancer is gone. It simply means it's being held at bay, for now. As Wikipedia points out, this stage of treatment often comes with heightened emotional pressure, as the patient no longer feels sick but is still very much in danger. And this tension between public perception and private reality is starting to bleed into palace dynamics. Because when the public celebrates, but the doctors still worry, that's where all hell begins to stir beneath the surface. The palace. Reaction. Damage control or truth? As soon as King Charles's health message went public, Buckingham Palace jumped into tight control mode. The tone may have sounded calm, hopeful even, but behind it was a machine working overtime to manage perception, control narrative, and silence speculation before it could spiral. According to Arab News PK, the palace framed the king's announcement as a public service, linking it to cancer awareness rather than personal weakness. They wanted it seen as strength through vulnerability, not fragility. But insiders suggest this was more than just honesty. It was damage control. When Reuters reached out for further comment, a palace spokesperson clarified that reduced treatment was a sign of progress, but also emphasized this is not remission. That distinction was crucial and intentional, because while the tone of the broadcast was positive, the reality behind the scenes remains tense. The cancer isn't gone, it's just quieter. And the palace is making sure to control what's revealed and what isn't. One of the most notable choices is their continued refusal to share the specific type of cancer the king is facing. As Reuters reported, the lack of detail has sparked endless speculation. Why keep it vague? Why avoid transparency now after opening the door? Many believe it's a strategic line being walked. Give just enough truth to appear open, while withholding enough to protect the throne's stability. Insiders confirm the palace's messaging has been carefully rehearsed and structured, reviewed by legal and medical advisors. As Arab News PK noted, every phrase, every sentence in the king's video was likely reviewed dozens of times. It wasn't just a message. It was a royal communication weapon, used to shape how the public sees this stage of Charles's reign. And yet, something about it all feels too perfect. Royal watchers have pointed out how controlled the visual setup was. The lighting, the tone, the tightly edited message. Some believe this wasn't just about health. It was also about legacy, about crafting an image of strength during illness and securing trust in the monarchy when it's most vulnerable. One former royal aide told reporters, "The monarchy doesn't do raw emotion unless it's calculated." This was calculated. Brilliantly so. But behind that calculation is a simple truth. The palace knows the risks are still there. That's why this message, for all its hope, also served as a warning. And that warning leads directly into something even more important. What this doctor's message was truly meant to say, not just to the public, but to the world. The doctor's hidden message for the public. Strip away the cameras, the PR scripts, the royal backdrop, and what's left is something shockingly simple, yet incredibly powerful. A message from a patient, not just a king. Wikipedia confirmed that King Charles used his moment in the spotlight to share a truth many ignore, that early detection saves lives. This wasn't about him claiming victory, it was about urging others to act before it's too late. In the same statement, the king revealed a heartbreaking statistic. Millions of people every year miss cancer screenings that could have saved their lives. They skip appointments. They ignore signs. They wait too long. Charles admitted that his own diagnosis was caught only because of routine post-operative checks. Without that, his cancer might have gone unnoticed until it was too advanced to fight. Doctors working with the palace said the king's openness was part of a larger royal health initiative, one aiming to destigmatize cancer, encourage testing, and push men especially prone to talk about their symptoms. According to reports, Charles's own medical team strongly supported the decision to speak out. They believed his voice could reach people clinical reports never would. And they were right. Social media metrics showed a massive spike in searches for "cancer screening near me" within 24 hours of the king's message airing. Health clinics in parts of the UK saw immediate increases in appointment bookings. The ripple effect was real and measurable. But there's more to this message than just awareness. As Wikipedia highlighted, Charles is no stranger to advocacy. But this time, he wasn't speaking about the environment or architecture. He was speaking about his body, his fear, his battle. And in doing so, he crossed a generational line, one older royals never dared cross. He became vulnerable in public. One doctor said, "When you hear a king talk about chemotherapy, you stop and listen, not because he's royal, but because it reminds you no one is safe." This was the true core of the message. It wasn't about Charles. It was about you, the viewer, the ordinary citizen, the one who keeps putting off that checkup, who brushes off that pain, who thinks it's probably nothing. If the most guarded man in Britain can speak about this, what's stopping the rest of us? The hidden message wasn't hidden at all. It was crystal clear. Get checked. Don't wait. You're not invincible. And as the world listened, the impact was undeniable. But while the public was inspired, many were also scared. Scared of what this means for the monarchy, for the royal family, and for the man who may be forced to take the crown sooner than he ever wanted. That's what we'll face next, as public fear and royal pressure collide. The public reaction: fear, support, and speculation. As soon as King Charles opened up about his cancer treatment, the world reacted. And it wasn't quiet. Within hours of his video message airing, social media turned into a global courtroom, filled with support, suspicion, and panic. According to Wikipedia, thousands of messages poured in across platforms like X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Some were filled with compassion, others with worry, and many with questions the palace never answered. The biggest concern? That the reduced treatment wasn't actually a sign of recovery, but a way to ease the king's public schedule quietly, while the truth about his condition remained hidden. Arab News PK reported that many viewers interpreted the palace's phrasing, progress, but not remission, as a carefully worded middle ground, too vague to confirm anything, too hopeful to provoke alarm, but not solid enough to calm the nation. Then came the speculation frenzy. Because the type of cancer was never disclosed, rumors exploded online. Was it prostate? Colon? Something more aggressive? Was it stage 2 or stage 4? The silence created a vacuum, and the internet filled it with everything from armchair diagnoses to outright conspiracy theories. Reuters covered how this information gap became a public stress point. When the public senses that something is being hidden, even if it's not, they start to imagine the worst, one media analyst explained. Still, not all reactions were negative. A large part of the public expressed genuine admiration for the king's courage and vulnerability. One user wrote, "Seeing Charles speak openly gave me the strength to book my own screening." Others praised the palace for even releasing a health update at all, a move unthinkable under Queen Elizabeth's reign. Wikipedia highlighted a key cultural shift: the idea that royal health used to be taboo, hidden behind velvet curtains and stiff upper lips. Now, for better or worse, it's becoming a matter of public discourse. And King Charles, willingly or not, has become the face of that transformation. But there's another element fueling the reaction: the sense that this isn't just about illness, but about what comes next. Because even as the public debates Charles's condition, they're watching Prince William more closely than ever. His recent increase in appearances, alone, sharp, and solemn, hasn't gone unnoticed. And that's where the public fear grows stronger. Because this isn't just concern for a king, it's the realization that the monarchy itself may be quietly preparing for a change no one's ready for. The royal family under pressure. Behind palace walls, the pressure is mounting. And it's not just about King Charles's health. The entire royal family is navigating one of the most difficult public chapters in recent history, with global eyes watching every move. As People.com reported, Charles isn't the first royal to face illness, but this time it's unfolding in real time, under relentless public and media scrutiny. And the pressure doesn't fall on Charles alone. Prince William, Queen Camilla, and even palace staff are juggling transparency, optimism, and damage control. According to Arab News PK, royal doctors being named publicly is nearly unheard of, a sign of just how serious and sensitive this moment truly is. With Princess Catherine also battling cancer, the emotional toll on William is enormous. Both he and Camilla have stepped in to keep royal duties afloat. But it's clear, they're doing more than appearances. They're holding up the crown. Still, it all feels temporary. As one insider put it, the cracks are there. William is no longer just the heir. He's the backup monarch, the man waiting in the wings. And the question now is, how much longer can the family hold the line? What the doctor really wants you to know. Beyond palace walls, scripted statements, and royal protocols, the king's doctors had a clear and urgent message, one that applies to everyone, not just a monarch. Early detection saves lives. King Charles's diagnosis came during post-surgical checks, a routine procedure that caught something far more serious. According to Wikipedia and Arab News PK, this timing likely changed everything. His doctors stress that had it been discovered later, the outcome could have been drastically different. That's the message they're pushing. Don't wait. Don't ignore symptoms. Don't assume you're safe. By stepping forward, Charles has given this warning more weight than any campaign could. His personal battle has become a public health example, proving that cancer doesn't care about titles. The goal now isn't just to protect the king, it's to spark a national wake-up call. The aftermath. Why this doctor's words matter. This wasn't just a health update, it was a seismic shift in how royal illness is seen. The king's doctor has now redefined how the public views transparency, legacy, and vulnerability in the monarchy. As Reuters reported, the reduced treatment doesn't mean safety. It means constant vigilance. And for the royal family, that vigilance won't stop anytime soon, because one man's illness could reshape a dynasty. The royal doctor spoke. The palace spun it. But now the truth is out, and the pressure on the monarchy is only growing. This isn't over. It's just getting started.